Or of more draft coverage by Rhett Bryan and the Titans radio crew. They crushed it last night. They'll crush it tonight. They'll crush it tomorrow. And we just wanted Rhett to roll in here and crush some draft coverage with us today. Did you have a good time last night? You're like me. I know you completely nerd out on this. I mean, like to the point that you print everything that people put out so you can just put your hands on it.
Those who are ecologists and protective of things probably hate me because I murder trees, a lot of them this time of the year, and I don't mean to, but I need something in front of me physically. And that song should be actually give me 3 picks more because I need to trade around and get some more guys, I love you guys know how much I love the draft. I don't know. I probably have an unhealthy obsession with it. But yeah, I had a blast last night, and first round did not disappoint. I mean, think about this. First of all, 5 trades is all you had, most of it in the bottom half. You had 14 consecutive offensive players before a defensive person was taken. 23 offensive picks overall, broke that record. To use your nickname for Joseph back there, it was bananas. It really was.
How close do you think? Because Rand, it came up a little bit about, did you guys think about trading out? And he said, yeah, some people came call. Do you think they ever got close? And Rand, or Callahan won, maybe it was Rand actually said later, he got asked, was Latham one of your we're not moving off this guys? And he said, well, if there was a list like that, then yes.
He would be on it. Yeah. And I think if there was any conversation with a potential trade, it could have been the obligatory, hey, man, what would it take?
Yeah.
And Rand, I can imagine, was like, hey, hold up, Hoss. I'm not going to bid against myself. You tell me what you're offering, and we'll go from there. I was born, but not last night. I mean, come on, man. But I'm sure there's conversations and things. But, and of course, when Joe Alt is selected 5th overall by the Chargers, I immediately start pulling all my notes on JC Latham because obviously it had been reported he'd taken a top 30 visit. And the thing that tipped the cap to me and when I saw Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft the night before and he had Latham at 5 I'm like, okay, I bet that's the backup plan. That seems like that makes sense because when you look at his makeup, he may be the strongest offensive tackle in this group. Like he's kind of like Big Jeff in terms of like everything on his body is just like he has a size 18 shoe. He has a size 11 hand. He carries nearly 6'6", 300 and whatever pounds. Like all of that stuff is good. And I love the fact that like Joe Alt, he just turned 21. He'll be one of the 2 or 3 rookies that'll be 21 his entire rookie season. And then you think about, you hear Nick Saban's comments last night. Of course, he's going to be biased. He coached him. He recruited him. But they're talking about the immaturity level of a guy that's just 21. And clearly it sounds like he fits what they're wanting to do, the Titans wanting to do culture-wise. And I like the pick. I mean, that was the place where they needed some help, and looks like they got it.
Sure did. Rhett Bryan, executive producer of Titans Radio coverage again tonight on the draft and also again tomorrow. We're talking about it all right now on Blaine and Mickey.
Yeah, what would you say is the comp for JC Latham for a current player that's in the National Football League as comparison?
Blaine, I hadn't really thought about that with him.
I was thinking Trent Williams. Only reason because he's kind of dirty,
Yeah.
And you don't feel like, he's that, dancing bear. He doesn't look like he's light on his feet like that, but he's always just in front of people. Yeah. He's technically sound, but he's borderline hitting you after the play, after the whistle.
The old echo of the whistle, yeah.
The echo of the whistle.
That's probably pretty good. I hadn't thought about that, but
if he's anywhere near as good as that,
that's a home run, baby.
Worked out pretty good.
Absolutely. I just, and I like how immediately they look, we're going to put him at left tackle. And, even Brian Callahan joked and said, all these guys will tell you, yep, I can play left tackle. Mm-hmm. But this guy looks the part. And again, the thing that stood out to me when he had his availability with the media last night is that when he had his 30 visit, he met just for 2 hours alone with Bill Callahan, his position coach in this, and that Coach Callahan said he was telling me things about technique that I'd never even thought or heard of or thought about.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, no player coming into the league is perfect. So what do you see in when you did your evaluation of my man, JC Latham? Well, I mean, what a powerful human being.
And that's the thing. Powerful is where it's at because he is very strong in his upper body. He's very strong in his lower body, has the good anchor. And just, you don't see him losing ground and getting washed out of plays and getting knocked off of his anchor. Of course, if you're that big and you have a nearly 85-inch wingspan, you should be able to do all those things. But yeah, he I don't know if he's necessarily the dancing bear, as we like to call it, but he's dang solid. I mean, again, I think he may be the strongest of the offensive tackles in this class.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We're on with Rhett Bryan from Titans Radio. I guess, where do the Titans go from here? And I'm not going to talk about, like, what player, but, like, what position group or group do you think that they may target at this point in time?
In my honest opinion, and this is just my opinion, I have nothing to base this on. I think it's one of two things. I think maybe they go get themselves a slot receiver or a do-it-all kind of receiver that's still sitting there like Ricky Pearsall. I didn't necessarily see him going in the bottom of the first round. I thought that would be Ladd McConkey. So, if Ladd McConkey's there at 38, I wouldn't hate that. But honestly, I think they go defense just because there's so much good defensive talent left after.
D-line, linebacker, D-edge, where we at? Cornerback? There's a whole bunch of cornerbacks. Mickey said he's going to lose his lid if they take a corner.
Well, prepare to lose your lid because you know who I'm thinking is Cooper DeJean.
Or did you say that, Bananas?
I think it was Bananas who said that. Bananas, I'll take the heat for it.
I wanted Johnny Newton, the Illinois defensive tackle.
And let me tell you something. That's an excellent choice by you because Johnny Jerzan Newton.
He's a dog.
He absolutely is. His body size and makeup and kind of his style of play, it's an unfair comparison, but he's going to get some likenesses to an Aaron Donald. He's not Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
But I've liked him from day one. And I wouldn't hate that. But Cooper DeJean is who I was talking about. And Bananas, listen, he's one of the more position versatile players in this draft. He played all over the back third of that defense for Kirk Ferentz at Iowa. And you talk about an athlete now. That dude, good grief. I think he averaged like 26 points a game as a basketball player in high school, and he's track, baseball, all that stuff. And, whatever the equivalent to the star position is at Iowa, like he played everywhere. And he broke his leg in the fall, but here we are 6 months later, and he got back. He wasn't ready at the combine, but did a great job at his pro day. I like his explosion. I like his athleticism. And, listen, in my opinion, a lot of these guys that come out of Kirk Ferentz's program, they're pretty much ready-made to go to the NFL and don't have a ton of struggles, especially the defensive players. But I wouldn't hate that there.
All right. Well, Rhett Bryan, Titans Radio.
Anybody else that really stands out to you today? I bring up this name, Braden Fisk.
That's my guy.
Mine.
Man,
we've all kind of been crushing on him in this room for a while now.
Well, and I understand why. And let me tell you something. If you met the young man, you just forget it. Sign the papers. Because he's the most unassuming, and he'll tell you, he's like, I'm not the biggest guy. I'm not the fastest guy. I'm not the strongest guy. But that motor, he never quits. Man. He never quits. And, you just think about, and he is one of, and this is the common theme for tonight and really tomorrow as well, as the examples of what college football is now, where you start out at a smaller program and you hit the transfer portal and you go and take it to the next level and play well at the next level. Because he was at Western Michigan. And then he comes to FSU, and, man, he and Jared Verse were just tearing people up. I mean, Florida State had a great year until they got to the bowl game. And you look at that ACC championship game he was in against Louisville, he was a wrecking machine.
It was
bad, man. He sold
9.5 tackles, 4.5 for loss, 3.5 quarterback
sacks. That was the thing where the next day we all came in and were like, oh my gosh.
But did you see him running downfield?
Yeah.
Doing like Jeffrey Simmons type stuff.
And that's the thing.
His motor.
You know, he was telling us at Senior Bowl, he's like, I'm not the most athletic. I'm like, well, that's funny because I saw. And then he goes to the combine and he runs a dang 4.9 240 at his size or whatever it was. And, you know, good vert and all those things. But for Braden Fisk, that would be a fantastic. And let me tell you, there's his former teammate at Western Michigan is another guy. Marshawn Nealon. Boy, do I like that guy. And he is a long prospect. I think he's got about an 83-inch wing himself. And he stayed at Western Michigan. But if you wanted to do that, and you're right, Blaine, there's a bunch of corners. There'll be a run on corners tonight. And as we get deeper in it, they're not necessarily, you know, the shutdowns or whatever. Like those guys, there's a couple that are still there. Kool-Aid McKinstry will go pretty early tonight, but there's a lot of nickel cornerbacks in this. Good ones. Yeah. Like Mike Sanders still from Michigan. I like that guy. I like his style of play. And
converted wide receiver, too, from IMG.
That's correct. Absolutely. And, you know, and then obviously the position groups that aren't necessarily as deep, but also didn't have like a top tier candidate in, there'll be a run on those, like off-ball inside linebackers.
Yeah.
You can get your pick of the litter tonight where the Titans are, you know, whether it's Junior Colson, who just played down the road here at Ravenwood, or, you know, it's, Edgerrin Cooper from Texas A&M. I mean, there's some nice talent there. Peyton Wilson, NC State. Any of the safeties are there, you know, whether it's
Blaine's
Tyler
cousin, Bishop, he's there.
That's right.
Yeah, Cole Bishop.
Absolutely. Cole Bishop from Utah. And Tyler Newbin from Minnesota, and Jaden, the kid from Washington State. He's really good too. But you'll start to see a run on a lot of this stuff tonight. And this is also where the run on the running backs will, when you get into the 12, 13, 14, about midway of second round, that's where you'll start to see these guys start to move.
We're moving through Friday's show, talking the draft and more with Rhett Bryan of Titans Radio.
Anything shock you outside of Titans about the draft? For me, it was the Penix deal. But
at 8, man.
Come on, man.
I kind of understand it a little bit, but boy, I saw Arthur Blank didn't know what was going on.
And Bananas showed me that before we went on the air. I was like, because obviously I'm in the middle of it, but when I saw that, I was like, yeah, he is doing some explaining, Terry Fontenot is to the owner. And Arthur Blank expression is what I would have called that from what we saw in the war. I'm like, what in the world? That one puzzled me. And it shocked all of us because, I mean, less than 2 months ago, you got your guy, free agent Kirk Cousins, and gave him a $100 million guaranteed contract. And Michael Penix is already 24 years old. Like, you know, this is COVID year stuff coming into play here. I'm like, what in the world? That's where it went off of its axis, was that moment there.
Yeah.
For sure. I think the other one, when I'm looking towards the bottom of this, like, it did not surprise me that it was so offensive heavy because this tackle class, the quarterback class, the wide receivers involved. I was surprised that Ricky Pearsall went and snuck into the bottom of the first round. That one surprised me a little bit. And also Xavier Legette just a little bit, with Carolina getting back in at 32. Most everything else pretty on par. I hated Darius Robinson got taken because, golly, I sure would have liked to have had him at 38 tonight.
Well, we were reading the names of the people who were there yesterday, and Blaine's like, wait a second, that guy's there? Then he obviously knows something.
Yeah.
Because we've been talking about him at 38. He's like,
if you're invited and suited up and iced up, commissioner might call your name.
Dang.
And by the way, how about JC Latham, like, re-injuring the surgically repaired back of the commissioner? He straight up just bear hugged it. I'm like, he didn't get the memo that he had surgery 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a ton of good talent left. I think you will start to see quite a few more trades into tonight because of the effects of college football. And I mentioned the transfer portal, but really NIL, because so many guys went back to school when they got some NIL money. And I think I've been talking to people for what seems like 6 months talking about, I don't know about day 3 of the draft, because a lot of guys went back to school. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be a lot of clamoring to figure out how to get something, in the earlier rounds of this thing before you get to day 3. So I would anticipate more trades starting tonight, and then I think tomorrow it's a wild, wild west. So
yeah. I had one more other one that kind of annoyed me. Maybe I'm just not educated enough to understand why they did this move, and that was Buffalo Bills trading with Kansas City and let them take Worthy there at the end. I know they gained some picks, but at the same time, that's the team you're trying to take down, and you let them with Mahomes get Worthy.
Yeah.
I just didn't understand it when you already had a accumulation of picks already.
And
so
it wasn't involving a quarterback.
Right. I just didn't understand I'm really waiting for somebody to kind of explain that.
I will say this. The guy ran a 4.21. He's ridiculous. But I worry about the durability because he's 165 pounds.
Oh, yeah, you're always going to worry about that. Dale, the guy went last year from U of H.
Tank Dale, yes.
I worry about it. Nobody's brought it up with Jaden Daniels. His body built, NFL dude hit him? Ooh, I don't know. I do not know.
And let me underline it with this, Blaine, because we saw him play. I mean, he started 56 games.
Yeah, he's invited tough too. So
he invited a little more contact than he should, trying to extend plays. Kind of like what Will Levis was doing last year. Like, he's slight enough. I worry about that because I'm like, dude, whoa. Know when the journey's over. Yeah, look, get down.
I think it was Alabama they played when he got hit. I remember watching that.
He got rocked by several people last year, and I'm like, dude, you're 210. Calm down, man.
Yeah, they got to tell him, hey,
ease up there, fella.
You're gonna have to get some protein shakes down
and teach him how to slide. Yep.
Oh man, but yeah. So back on at 6 tonight till 9 this evening, and our crew that we had last night will be joined by On3 VolQuest's Brent Hubbs. Because he always has all the recruiting stories about these guys and has followed them, since they were much younger pups than they are. And then we'll wrap up the draft tomorrow afternoon, 4 to 6, and that'll call it a draft. That'll be it. But looking forward to it. It'll be fun.
Santa Claus got a couple more nights of toys to deliver to the people, and you can catch it all on Titans Radio right here on 104.5 The Zone. Rhett Bryan, follow him at Rhett B Tennessee on X, and you will not be disappointed.